right, so let's start looking at some of the specific categories of it. Salaries and wages. This one is one of the most popular ones. This one is the most common form. I think probably a good 80 to 90% of all tax returns have some form of salaries and wages. And most of you folks are already getting a W-2, getting a regular paycheck. And this is what W-2s often look like. So you can see here, the boxes 1, 3, and 5 contain how much wages you've made. And you'll notice there is some differences. And that's how you earn some tax benefits before you even file your tax return, is because box 1 is what's going to go on your tax return. And so this is where we can start trying to get this box as low as we can, because that's what you have to pay tax on. So you'll notice this one and these two are different than this one. And that's because this person had some form of pre-tax deduction taken out of their paycheck. And we can look down here in box 12A and we can see code D for $1,500. And that's exactly what our difference is between these two boxes, and this one is $1,500. Well, code D, I just know, is a contribution to a 401k. And so this person earned another $1,500, but doesn't have to pay tax on it. So that's how 401ks benefit you now, because you're earning money, but you're not having to pay tax on it now. And this 401k money will just sit in an account for her, this person, until they retire and draw it out, and then they'll have to pay tax on it. But hopefully then she's retired and so earning a lot less money, and will probably be in a lower tax bracket. There's a few other things that will help reduce some of these numbers in here, and we'll look at those a little later on. HSAs, FSAs, all those kind of things will often do it. So generally, the number to look at if you want to see how much money somebody really made at their job is this box, because this box is rarely affected by pre-tax deductions. So I would probably say this person is earning $50,000 a year, even though on their tax return it's only going to show $48,500. The W-2s, your employers have to send them out to you either by mail or by electronic means. And nowadays, pretty much everybody's doing them electronically. You can just download them automatically. But they're supposed to be out to you by January 31st. And if you're not required to file, remember we learned about that in the last chapter, whether your filing requirement exceeded the standard deduction, which is a general rule of thumb, you should always look for box 2 to see if you're due a potential refund. So a lot of times my clients will bring in their child's W-2 and say, I don't know if this person needs to file or not. I'll look right here in box 2. Well, first I'll look at box 1 and see if it's over a standard deduction. So if it's like $6,000, no, this person doesn't have a filing requirement. But then I'll look at box 2 and see how much money is withheld, because this is our potential refund. If box 2 just had $5, I'd say, well, probably not worth it because it's only a $5 refund. But if it had $835 in here, then I would say, absolutely, let's file and we'll get them an $835 refund. The W-2s, this is the most common looking W-2, but there's all kinds of W-2s. They all look different, but the line numbers, the box numbers will be the same. So you can look on any W-2 and box 1 is always going to be wages, tips, and other compensation. It might be down over here, it might be over here, it might be up here, but box 1 is always going to be wages and tips. And box 2 is always going to be the federal income tax withheld. So these are the two magic boxes that we always look at for every tax return. And all this other stuff, can play a part in your tax return also. Common box 12 codes. Code C is another popular one. We're going to learn about that a little later on. Your employer will pay for your life insurance premiums. And if it goes over a certain amount, it becomes taxable to you. And that amount will be in box 12, and you'll actually pay income tax on it. It's usually not very much. Unless you have a really large life insurance policy. And up to $50,000 of life insurance premiums are not taxable to you. Code D, we've already talked about, like this person here has code D, that's contributions to a 401k. A 403B is just like a 401k, but generally for governmentals or nonprofit entities. DD, this is the cost of an employer paid health insurance. So I can see here that this employee, the big company, paid $1,000 to provide this employee with health insurance.